Okay, let's go over graphing a cosine function. In this assignment, in the beginning, you're asked to use your calculator to complete the table chart. So down there we've got like a t-table with x and y, and we're just plugging in values. The reason for that is we're going to graph each value separately. Okay, so we'll start by 0. Now the number one mistake that most people make is they forget to set their calculator to degrees, or off of radians. Sometimes it'll be radians, sometimes it'll be degrees. Make sure that you get your calculator on degrees. Okay, now with that in mind, what I'm going to do is say, all right, I know what my x values are, and each one of those has been given to me. Okay, so all my x values are there. So I'm going to say cosine, and there's just, in this calculator, TI-84, there's just a button for it. And there usually is in just about every calculator, every scientific calculator. So cosine 0 degrees, and that gives me 1. And so I'm just going to put 1 there. And then I'm going to say, all right, cosine 30 degrees. And that gives me 0.866. Okay, and I'm going to go out the 3 decimal places because it ends at the 0 there, and that's just fine with me. So we keep going, and we have cosine 60 degrees, and we see that's 0.5. Cosine 90 degrees, and that's 0. 120 degrees, and that's negative 0.5. Cosine 150. So it's just going up by whatever they gave you. So that's negative 0.866. And by now you should start seeing a pattern. What do we think the next one might be? Well, 180 degrees. If we do 180, cosine of 180 is negative 1. So look at this. It starts off at 1, positive 1. Picture it in your mind. And let's see, we'll even picture it on a graph. Okay. We'll say, all right, it's starting up on negative 1, or positive 1, and then it goes down to negative 1. It's probably going to come back up. Looks like, that's kind of where it's headed. Let's see if we're right. Cosine of 210 degrees, negative 8, or negative 0.866. So we can assume, hey, it's probably going to be negative 0.5 right there. So cosine 240, negative 0.5. And then I'll bet this is 0. Cosine of 270, 0. And then it's going to go on, 0.5, 0.886. And 360 is going to be 1. Okay? So we just go on and fill in the charts. Now we look for the negative degrees, and we try to fill that in. Okay, we're going negative now. So we're going to say, all right, what is cosine of 0 again? That's 1. Cosine of negative 30 is 0.866. Cosine of negative 60 is 0.5. You start seeing a pattern going on here. Cosine of negative 90, 0. And if you start noticing the pattern, you can start saying, hey, I know what's coming next. Okay, so let's just double check, see if we're still on the right track. Negative 240, negative 0.5. So we see that, if they're the same, whether it's positive or negative. Okay, so now we have our chart filled in. And that's all we had to do, was just cosine of each one of those degrees one at a time. Okay, now we plot it. When x is 0, y is 1. So it's right there. When x is 30, so right here, y is 0.5. Oh, 0.8. I thought that didn't sound right. So it's 0.866. So I'm just going to estimate it to be right about there. When x is 60 degrees, it's 0.5. When x is 90 degrees, it's 0. And then if we keep going, we see it goes to negative 0.5. Okay, and then it goes down to 0.86, negative. Then it goes down to negative 1. Then it goes back up to negative 0.866, and then back up to negative 0.5, back up to 0. So you see how we're on 270 now? We're at 0. 300 is 0.5. 330, 0.866. 360 is 1. Okay? And we see going the other direction, we get the exact same reaction. Okay, down to 0.5, down to 0, down to negative 0.5, down to negative 0.866, negative 1, negative 866, back up to negative 0.5, back up to 0, 0.5, 0.866, and back up to 1. Now we see the cosine forming quite nicely right here. Okay? And that's all you have to do. Plug in each degree for the cosine and see what it equals. And then just plot each point. And we see the graph of the cosine appear. So hopefully that helps you with number 2 on graphing a cosine. Let me know if you have any more questions.